Hello, and thank you for watching. This is Jackson Bleachers college football best bets for week 5. Week 5 kicks off here in a few hours. It's Thursday morning right now, and it kicks off tonight with Miami and North Carolina. With it being week 5, that means that there's plenty of teams that have no shot at making the playoffs anymore. And just because of that doesn't mean we can't bet on them. And actually, all 3 of the games I picked this week have absolutely no shot at ending the season in the top 4. But before we talk about this week, let's go back to last week. Last week we went 3-0 and improved the records to 9-4 with one push on the year. So I wouldn't say we had bad luck in week 3. We did go 1-1 with the push, so we broke even. But we finally got everything to break our way last week with the perfect 3-0 record. The closest game last week, we were on Washington State plus 3.5 at USC Friday night. The Cougs ended up falling by 3 points, so that half point saved us. And we were also on A&M plus 28 at Alabama. And while the Aggies got blown out, which I said they'd get blown out, I said they'd probably lose 21, anywhere from 17 to 24 was my guess. They were able to keep it within 4 touchdowns. So we did cash that one. That one was one of those where it was just either way. If you lost that bet, you were gonna feel bad, because if you took A&M and they did get beat by, they didn't cover the 28, you'd be mad at yourself. You're like, why did I pick against Nick Saban at home? Like, why? That's just dumb. But then on the other side, the way I went, if you would have picked Alabama minus 28 and A&M covers, like, how are you gonna? A&M's a good team. They're a good SEC team. They're ranked. They proved they can. They almost beat. They were a play away from beating the number 2 team in the nation, Clemson. Clemson was number 2 then. I think Georgia's number 2 now. But so A&M proved they could play with the big boys, and they were catching 28 points. So for me, I looked at that like, I'll gamble that they can keep within 4 touchdowns, and they did. But I think either way, the people who lost that bet, no matter which way it would have gone, would have felt sick, because there were 2 golden rules there, and one of them had to give, and we got lucky that we picked right last week with A&M plus 28. And the last game of the weekend we picked was Michigan State minus 4.5 in Indiana, and the Spartans did end up winning by 2 touchdowns in Bloomington, so we cashed that one easy. Now let's move on to this week. We got Hawaii minus 13 at San Jose State, which I locked this in a couple days ago, but actually I just checked that line here about 5 minutes ago, and there are a lot of places you can get Hawaii minus 10. So if you can get Hawaii minus 10, I would definitely jump all over that. Because I got them at 13. I think they'll cover the 13 easily, and I definitely think they'll cover the 10. But so I'd jump on that real fast. Every year I pick an under-the-radar team and ride them as long as I possibly can. The last couple years it had been Washington State. This year it was Hawaii. They have one of the most electrifying offenses in the entire country. Because of their late kickoffs, their late home kickoffs, and their lack of TV time, most college football fans have not seen them play this year, but they're worth going out of your way to watch if you possibly can watch them. They're already 5-0. They had, they're 4-1. They did lose. They did lose at Army in their last game 2 weeks ago, actually. They had a week 0 game at Colorado State, so that's how they've already played 5 games. They scored an average of 39.4 points per game this year, and that's skewed a little bit because they only got 21 points 2 weeks ago against Army, and that's the only time they failed to reach 40. And the crazy thing about that Army game, they got the push on that game. They were a 7-point underdog, lost by 7. But the crazy thing about that game kicked off at 6 a.m. on their body clock. So Hawaii's got a great offense. They're really fun to watch. And then on the other side, San Jose State is just a bad football team. The Spartans are 0-3, including being shut out by Washington State, who, if you follow college football, you know they're not exactly known for having a shutdown defense. They also lost on its home field early in the season. I believe that was opening night, 44-38 to UC Davis. Hawaii is clearly the better team in this matchup, and I think honestly the only reason that Hawaii is only a 13 or now even a 10-point favorite over San Jose State is because they're Hawaii. You put the same two teams on the field, put different jerseys on them, and that Hawaii team is easily, I think, a 17-point favorite. I think they win by at least 3 touchdowns. I'll be more surprised if San Jose State covers that 10 points than if Hawaii wins by 28. I think there's a better chance of Hawaii beating San Jose State by 4 touchdowns than San Jose State keeping it within 2 touchdowns. So I'm on Hawaii minus 13 at San Jose State. The second game, USC minus 3 at Arizona. I'm taking USC minus 3, but it has way more to do with how bad Arizona is than how good USC is. The Trojans eked out a 3-point victory at home last week against Washington State, which kept Clay Helton off the hot seat for at least one more week. The Trojans are 2-2, but both of their losses have come on the road against teams that are currently in the top 25. I believe that's Texas and Stanford. Trojans' offense has been the problem in those 2 losses, but they have proven they can score. They put up 43 points on opening night against UNLV and 39 points last week in their Pac-12 opener, and that was against Washington State. Arizona, on the other hand, has had a terrible start. I don't know if you could really even have a worse start than Arizona has as a Power 5 team. The Kevin Sumlin era got off to a very disappointing start. The Wildcats blew a second-half lead at home to BYU on opening night. The next weekend, they got the doors beat off of them at Houston, 45-18. Sophomore quarterback Khalil Tate was a favorite to win the Heisman going into 2018, but I think he's blown any chances he had at that after week 2. Kevin Sumlin was expected to work his quarterback magic again, but so far it has not worked out in Tucson, which I'm not going to write this off yet. Kevin Sumlin, he's worked his magic with Johnny Manziel and I believe Case Keenum at Houston because he was at Houston before Texas A&M. But Khalil Tate's a really talented quarterback. I think he's regressed since last year, but he's still one of the most just pure talented athletes at quarterback in all college football. And he's not won the Heisman this year, but he's still a very electrifying player. I just don't think Arizona's that good. So I'm on USC minus 3, not because I love USC, but just because I think Arizona's a joke. But final game, Oregon minus 3 at California. Again, this is more of a I don't think Cal is very good than I like Oregon. This is the first season of the Mario Cristobal era in Eugene, and it's gotten off to a decent start. They did lose to a good Stanford team last Saturday night, but they look to be in much better shape than their old coach, Willie Taggart, is right now at Florida State. Oregon's 3-1, but the scary part about that is their only loss came in their only game against real competition. They beat up on Bowling Green, San Jose State, and Portland State. And the other kind of, I guess, red flag on this for Oregon is that this is their first road game. This is their first road game of the year, and it's also their first game against just like an average, like a middle of the road Power 5 team. Yeah, I know California. I think they're ranked 24 in the country. They're not number 24 in the country. California is just not that good. So I'd put them middle of the road Power 5 team. They're not bad, but they're not great. So this is the first time we'll actually see Oregon against a decent team, not a great team, not a bad team. But it's also their first road game, so we'll learn a lot about the Ducks this weekend. Over in Berkeley, this is Justin Wilcox's second season as the head coach. He's got the Golden Bears in the top 25. I don't think they deserve it, but whatever. They brought home a shaky opening day win over North Carolina, who is terrible, by the way, and then consolidated it with a win at BYU in week 2, which at the time, BYU had just beaten Arizona the week before. So at that point, BYU looked good. Cal goes in, beats them at home, shuts down the BYU offense. BYU looked to be reeling a little bit, and then out of nowhere they go to Madison and beat Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. So now, I mean, you don't really know what to make of that game. Obviously, that helps California a ton that BYU upset Wisconsin and Madison, but it's just so confusing. You really don't have a clue. I don't think BYU is very good. I think Wisconsin just kind of, I think they kind of crapped the bed, but whatever. Both teams in this game's overrated. I don't think either team has done anything to prove they're worthy of being ranked, but I trust Oregon more than Cal. I am a little nervous about taking an unproven team in its first road game, but this is the way I looked at it. If they played on a neutral field, I'd be more than comfortable taking Oregon as a 7-point favorite. So why not go with them as a 3-point favorite on the road? So I am on Oregon -3 at Cal. So just to review these real fast. First game, Hawaii -13 at San Jose State, and that line is actually dropped to Hawaii -10. So I'll jump all over that. Then USC -3 at Arizona, and Oregon -3 at Cal. So that's all we got for today. Hopefully we can keep the good luck rolling. We had a perfect week last week. Let's get a perfect week this week.